Hello everybody, today I'm going to be trying to make manganese chloride from manganese dioxide. I have this manganese dioxide that I got from the insides of a couple zinc carbon batteries, took them apart, and today I'm going to be trying to turn it into a pretty pink salt. So one of the first things I need to do to get it ready is I need to wash it really well because they have other things, different salts such as ammonium chloride, maybe even some zinc chloride, just other salts in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash it really well, then I'm going to filter it off and dry it. Once I have that, I can react it with hydrochloric acid, and then I should have my salt. So I'm going to get everything all washed, and then I'm going to come back. I now have it in a slurry. It really doesn't want to mix in well. It's probably some of the carbon contamination in it. The carbon's in there too, but it won't interfere. Carbon doesn't really react with much unless you're burning it. So I should be good for today. But it really does not want to mix. So I'm probably going to end up putting it on my hot plate and getting it hot just so it dissolves everything well and just continue to mix it for a long time. Yeah. I've got it hot. And now I'm going to pour it into my filter. I need somewhere to put this stir bar. Oh, there we go. It's not too dirty. All right. There we go, from that black mud. Nice clear water. Pretty sure a lot of that stuff floating on the sides is just graphite. Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep on pouring. Alright. Get this filtered and dried. I now have it set up to dry. This is just something else I'm heating up right now. It's unrelated, but I have it set up to dry, and hopefully I'll be able to get the water out and get nice and dry. We'll see. I also have thoroughly blackened my hands. I should have been wearing gloves when I was doing this, and that's a learning moment. Yeah, always wear gloves, no matter what you're messing with. We all hated doing it in science, but they teach us for a reason. I moved it to a bigger beaker, and it is almost dry. It also oddly smells like compost, or some sort of soil you'd lay down for potting plants, which is really weird, but meh. Anyway, it's almost dry, so that's good. Alright, should be dry enough now. The next step will be to add some hydrochloric acid. The thing about this step, though, is that it does make chlorine gas, and chlorine gas is very bad for your lungs. So definitely do this outside, or if you have a fume hood, do it under the fume hood. Please do not do this inside. You will make chlorine gas inside, and that is never a good thing. So we will be moving outside and doing that. Here it is in a bigger flask. Should be good. And now for the acid. This is some concentrated hydrochloric acid that I distilled. You do not want to use just straight acid from the store like this, because it has all sorts of contaminants in it. Mainly iron chloride, which makes it really yellow, and it I want this manganese chloride as pure as I can get it. So I distilled this off. It is still a little yellow, but I got rid of the vast majority of iron chloride in it. So that should be good, and I will be combining both of these. Put about maybe 125 mils of acid in here. You know what? I don't need that much. Put 100 mils of acid in here and we'll see. I now have it outside and I have around 80 milliliters of acid. This is definitely the time to put on some gloves if you haven't before, which I should have. Now my hands are all stained, but definitely wear gloves while working with acid. And now we'll add this in. I don't expect a major reaction to happen quickly, but it will slowly produce some chlorine, so you definitely want to have this outside. Looks like it's already starting. Maybe a little bit. From now on till the end of the experiment, what you'd most likely want to do is just stay far away from it, keep it away from other people and animals, and just let it be. So, yeah. I'm getting a whiff. Yep, smells like a pool. So that means that there's chlorine gas being produced. And that means it's making our manganese chloride. So, I don't think it's coming off on camera too well, but I can definitely see that it is yellowy in there with the chlorine gas. Oh yeah. But this is good. It means I'm making my manganese chloride. But it also means that it is making some stuff that will kill you if you breathe it. So I'm well enough away that it's not really doing anything. Can't even smell it right now. But even this much, you definitely wouldn't want to breathe. Getting too much around you, it's just bad. It'll burn your lungs. It won't kill you immediately, but just, it's much better to stay away from. Oh yeah, there you go. A little bit of yellow in there. Yeah, I can definitely see it. That's pretty crazy. Never really seen chlorine before. I've only ever done this in small scale. Well, that's interesting. Chemistry time. The chemistry for this equation goes something like this. You get manganese dioxide, MnO2, plus 4 hydrochloric acid, and then that makes you one manganese chloride plus H2O plus chlorine. So the reason it does this is because you have the manganese and the oxygen that can accept the chlorine. So the manganese accepts 2 of the chlorine atoms out of the 4. Then the oxygen accepts all of the hydrogen atoms, but you have 2 chlorine left over that is nowhere left to go. So it bubbles out as chlorine gas, and this is pretty much just the overall equation for how I understand it. There might be some nuanced stuff that I don't get, but this is pretty much how it works. I have let it sit for a couple days. Now I'm gonna test the pH, see if there's any more acid in there. So I can still smell a little bit of chlorine. Definitely did react in some aspect. But yeah, I'm gonna pH test it and then probably filter it out. All right, it is still acidic. So I'm probably gonna have to distill it to get the salt out, which I don't really mind. This is probably what I was planning in the first place. So I'm gonna get this thing filtered now. I have everything set up to be filtered, and I have gloves on again because it's acid. Wear gloves while dealing with acid. So we're gonna get this going, and we're gonna see if we have any pretty colors from it. Has finished settling out and filtering. It's a lot more yellow than it should be. And that is probably due to iron chloride in it, which should not be in it. I think my acid was fine, but I think it was my manganese dioxide and graphite powder that I got from the batteries themselves. I think it had some iron in it. So that dissolved in there, and now I should have some manganese chloride and iron chloride, which isn't ideal. I don't know how I'm gonna separate the manganese chloride from this. Chances are I probably won't be able to, but I'm still gonna boil it down and we'll see what crystals we get. Maybe we'll get a purple solution or a pinkish solution. Maybe. But yeah, if I ever try this again, I'll have to use better source of manganese dioxide. Well, I'll go set up my distillation. Here's my setup all put together. I have a limited amount of distilling equipment and supplies, so we covering this in aluminum foil to insulate it. It's probably not best to be heating a round bottom flask on a flat surface, but I've done it before and it hasn't shattered on me yet, so that's good. This distillation column, maybe it's more of a spiral. Probably not supposed to be used like this, but again, this is the only distillation apparatus I have, so I'm going to use it. I have water. It's going to run from up here through here, cool everything down, and then into one of these bottles. So I'll be able to just keep on cycling the water through. This will distill off all the hydrochloric acid and water. It'll go through my distiller, and then I'll be able to collect it here. I don't really want the acid and water particularly. I really just want the salt in here, but I'm distilling it because one, I can, and two, I don't want to get hydrochloric acid fumes everywhere. So that's what I'll be doing, and I'm gonna set it up and get it running. Here's the whole setup. I have my flask all covered in aluminum foil so that it actually boils and doesn't just sit there warm. It is heating up a bit. Get ready to start distilling. I have water flowing, and it's gonna go down in this flask. So, should be good. I turned the fan on because I was smelling a little bit of chlorine fumes from just some of the dissolved chlorine in there. And we have a little bit of distillate in here. Gonna get our first drop soon. It's going really fast actually, so that's good. Yeah. We're about to get our first drop. Anytime now. It's been going really fast. This is only a couple minutes after. And there it goes, our first little bit. It should be finishing up pretty soon, and then I'll dissolve up the crystals we have in there and do a concentrated solution, and we'll see what color we have. It'll probably be pretty yellow, but we might get some pink. we're just about finished, and we have a bit over 50 milliliters of distillate. And it's neat because there's water in the cooling, but it's also filled with distillate, so it's nice and clear and no bubbles. You can get bubbles down here, but I just thought that was neat. We got, you can see, it's pretty much all solidified now, which is good. Still bubbling a little bit. But yeah, mainly solidified. So we're gonna let this thing finish up, and then we're gonna have everything cool down. Here's my salt. A pretty brilliant orange color, which is definitely not what I was expecting, but still very cool. At least it's not yellow. Yeah, let's not do that. But it's very neat. I'm gonna dissolve it up and see if the concentrated solution is pink or not. Maybe. Either way, this is still very cool. Here's our distillate. Ended up with, I wouldn't know how much to judge that. Maybe 70 milliliters, somewhere around there. And it is acidic. So we got a little bit of hydrochloric acid here and a lot of water. But most importantly, our crystals. I have some water. I'm gonna add little bits until it's all dissolved. Then I'll pour it out. Let's see what this does. Okay. It did not like that, but it'll... There we go, we're dissolving it. Very interesting. And there we go. Looks a little bit pink. Yeah. It's doing something. And then I'll get it dissolved. Now I have it out of the round bottom flask and in a beaker. Gonna not spill it and filter it through here. It definitely does not look like what I expected it to, but it still made some neat crystals. We might be able to crystallize out something interesting from it. And either way, we'll have learned that we need better manganese dioxide, so that's nice. But filtering time. Now that it is all filtered out, I'm gonna boil it down, probably reduce its volume by about half. And then I'm gonna let it cool down so it can crystallize. And we'll see what kind of crystals we get. I'm hoping they'll be somewhat pink, but chances are they're gonna be pretty yellow. Either way, we'll still have made some neat crystals. So let's get this boiling. I've got it up to boiling and the color's changed slightly, but I'm just gonna keep on going until it's a little less than 20 milliliters, and then we're probably gonna take it off and let it crystallize. I've had it boiling, and now I reduced its volume by a lot, and it's pink, more or less, so that's good. We might have some product. It is filming a little bit of film on the surface, so we'll let that cool down and crystallize, and then we'll see what sort of crystals we get. It's a pretty color. Very pretty color. Oh, there's some of the first crystals. Yep. Nice, something worked. I let it crystallize out a bit, and now I have some crystals. So I'm gonna filter these through some paper and we'll see what we get. Might need to heat it up some more. It's nice and orange and slowly filtering out. So I'll squeeze all the extra water and other stuff out of it, and then should just have the crystals. Here's our end product. Big mass of fibery looking crystals. Very neat and slightly pink. More orangey yellow than pink, but I think I've fairly accomplished my goal. Turned black manganese dioxide into some yellowy purple manganese chloride. And yeah, that should be all for today. I have a video coming up about copper sulfate. That one's gonna be fun. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, leave a like, leave a comment, and if you think I earned it, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.